Hello guys, my name is Prince and this is my center. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. Post your comments and questions on my social media handles and I'll respond to it.
We are still on the topic probability. We solved a question on finding the probability of an event in the previous video. In this video, we are going to solve a question on finding the probability of an event after throwing a coin or tossing a coin. The question for this video is, a fair coin is tossed twice. Write down the set of possible outcomes. What is the probability of obtaining exactly two heads? No head, at least one head, a head and a tail. So we have a fair coin and that coin is tossed twice. It's a fair coin, so it means that one face is a head and the other face is a tail. And our first task is to write down the set of possible outcomes. We know that a coin has two faces, a head and a tail. So we will let H represent the head and we will let T represent the tail. To help us find the set of possible outcomes, we are going to draw this simple table. We will use the first row to represent the first coin and we use the first column to represent the second coin. So let's say that this is the coin. The first one will have a head and a tail. So we have a head and a tail here. Now we will use another coin to represent the second toss. So this will be the coin for the first toss and this is for the second toss. It will also have a head and a tail as we can see here. Now here are the set of possible outcomes. It's possible that at the first toss you have a head and at the second toss you have a head. So the first toss will land on a head and the second toss will also land on a head. So that is the first possible outcome that you can get. It's also possible that at the second toss you have a head and at the first toss you have a tail. So the first toss will land on a tail and the second toss will land on a head. So here it's possible that you can get a head at the second toss and a tail at the second toss. So a head and a tail. That is the second possible outcome. It's also possible that the second toss will land on a tail and the first toss will land on a head. So here it's possible that you have a tail and a head. So a tail here and a head here. So you have a tail and a head. And it's also possible that the second toss will land on a tail and the first toss will land on a tail. So you can have a tail and a tail. So from this table, you can get the set of possible outcomes. You can either get a head and a head, that is HH. You can get a head and a tail, that is HT. You can get a tail and a head, that is TH. And you can get a tail and a tail. This means that when you toss a fair coin twice, the set of possible outcomes are a head and a head and a tail and a head, and a tail and a tail. Where H represents the head and T represents the tail. So this is the set of possible outcomes or the sample space after you've tossed a fair coin twice. Now we are going to use this sample space to solve the questions that were given to us. We can see clearly from here that the number of members in this sample space here is 4. So here the number of members in our sample space, that is n into bracket x, is equal to 4. So the number of members in our sample space here is equal to 4. The first question says that we should find the probability of obtaining exactly one head. We should find the probability of obtaining exactly one head. So we go to our sample space. How many of the members have exactly one head? We can see that for exactly one head, we can get it here and here. Remember, this is not part. HH is not part because it has two heads. The question wants exactly one head. So for exactly one head, we will have this member and this member. Since there are two, the probability is going to be 2 that is the number of members in the event, we have 2 of them, divided by the sample space, which is 4. So 2 divided by 4, we simplify that and we are going to get half, or 1 divided by 2. So the probability of obtaining exactly 1 head will give us 1 divided by 2. Let's move on to the second question. The probability of obtaining no head. So you go back to your sample space. We are looking for no head. We will have this, that is TT. Tail and a tail contains no head. So we have only one member that satisfies this condition, no head. Our sample space is 4. We only have one member in this event, so 1. So it means that our probability is going to be equal to the number of members in the event, which is 1, divided by the number of members in the sample space, which is 4. So 1 divided by 4. The third question, we are looking for the probability of obtaining at least 1 head. So the probability of obtaining at least 1 head. At least 1 head means that you can have 1 or more heads. At least 1 head means that you can have 1 or more heads. So you come to the sample space. We are looking for 1 or more heads. So we have 2 heads here. It satisfies at least 1 head. So you pick that. We have 1 head here and we have 1 head here. Now this does not contain a head, so it is not part of this event. So at least 1 head, we are having 3 members. So the number of elements in the event, or the number of members in the event, is 3. Our sample space is 4. So the probability is going to be equal to 3 divided by 4 to give us the probability of obtaining at least 1 head. The last one is the probability of obtaining a head and a tail. So you come to the sample space. How many members contain a head and a tail? We have a head and a tail here and a head and a tail here. So we have 2 members. So the number of members in this event is 2. The sample space is 4. So our probability is going to be 2 divided by 4. And when you simplify that, we are going to get 1 divided by 2. So the probability of obtaining a head and a tail is 1 divided by 2. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel for more videos. In the next video, we are going to solve another question on finding the probability of an event after tossing a coin. Bye-bye.